Hey guys, another knife review, this time with better lighting. The clouds have left and I can see clearly now because the rain has gone. Anyway, I'm gonna do a review of the Kershaw Brawler. Kind of a more hard use EDC knife, I think, and I'm gonna go over some of the details and I think you're gonna like it. So get cracking. The blade is 3¼ inch long. And I couldn't find any specs for the thickness, but it's a fairly thick piece of steel because that is the full thickness of the blade, and it actually runs, let's see if you can, yeah, you can see it, runs the full length of the blade. It has an unsharpened swedge there, so, but it is a full thickness through the knife. Made of 8CR13 MOV, which is some people's, crap steel, where it's like, think of a knife that I don't want to make, they think of this steel. I think it's a very good steel for the price range, and oh, that's one thing that I should get out of the way. $25. 25 to 30, I should say. MSRP is 40. So if you buy it straight from Kershaw, it's going to cost you 40 bucks. That's not at all bad. So yeah, so 8CR13 LV, made in China. Made in this modified Tonto shape, and the reason I say modified Tonto is because the way it's what Kershaw calls it. In reality, it's more similar to a real Tonto. It's not the American Tonto where it's straight edge to straight edge, and then there's a little bit of a transition between the edges. It's more of it's more like a Tonto drop point because it drops its point, obviously. And it has a lot of belly right here, and then it goes to a straight. This actually makes it really nice to cut with. It means that I'm not having. It makes it a little, just tiny bit more difficult to sharpen because you're not just straight done. It takes a little bit of finesse up there, but it's well worth it in the fact that I have a lot more cutting capability here than I would with a straight, and I get a little tiny bit more cutting edge. Anytime you put a curve in, it makes it just a tiny bit longer, and I'm always I'm always up for a little bit longer blade. Like I said, it's a very thick piece. It's a fairly thick piece. It's still not very, but it's fairly thick. Apparently has a good temper because I did some stab and pops with this, probably 20 or 30 of them, outside this morning, and it held up really well. As you can see, there's no bending in the tip. There's no tip damage. I did not resharpen this. I did not try and bend it true. This is how it came out of the testing. And yeah, still deploys, a little bit of side to side, but I put that in there. No up or down. So yeah, that's awesome. It is hollow ground, and it's flat ground at the tip, and hollow ground for the main portion of the blade. Means that you're going to have to, again, a little bit more hard to sharpen, is you're going to have to change just a little bit to get that really hair splitting sharp. It isn't now because I went out and beat on it, but it's still pretty good. It's a very sturdy edge that I put on that. And this did come razor sharp all the way through out of the box. I just really like resharpening blades. I resharpen Spydercos, and they all come stupid sharp out of box, so it's just something I do, to make sure that it's up to my standards. It was sharp out of box. I backed up the relief edge ever so slightly, and then I changed the relief edge on the tip to make it more of a true flat grind, or maybe a convex grind up right at the tip, just because it makes it a little easier to sharpen instead of having to try and figure out angle changes from a flat to a hollow grind. The flat also makes it a stronger tip. Instead of having a hollow ground tip, it's a flat, so you're having a little bit more metal behind that very pointy tip. And like I said, 3¼ inch blades, so this might not be legal in some locales, but I think it's a really good EDC size blade. It's a little longer than my all-time favorite, which is a Delica FFG, which I stupidly traded a while back, so sorry, until I get a new one there won't be a review on that, but it's a very good size for EDC, and because of that strength that I've proven to myself, I can consider this a hard use EDC. And it's also a hard UC to see that, you know, instead of, maybe not strategy because they'll give you a working knife, but if I bought zero tolerance and then went and used it and abused it and broke it, I couldn't really send it in for warranty because it was my fault. So I'd have to buy a new $200 knife. I think this is going to give you probably 80% of the performance of a zero tolerance at, what is it, like probably a tenth of the cost, an eighth of the cost. So really good value for money there. It doesn't have a stop pin in it. Let's see if you can see in there. There's no stop pin. What it stops by is the thumb studs. Kind of a hinderer throwback, and I know a lot of other knife makers use thumb studs as a stop, but because of Kershaw's relationship with not zero tolerance, but Rick Hinderer, I think this was probably taken from one of his designs. Hope they paid him for it, because it also makes the lockup really strong. I mean, there's no up and down movement in that blade. Really, really good lockup. And an advantage to having this flared portion to catch those thumb studs, which make it a very strong knife, also mean that when you put it into your pocket, that flipper, see, isn't really like sticking way out, and so you're going to hit something, it's going to pop open in your pocket. That kind of protects the flipper. I mean, it's still really easy to get to with your finger, but it protects it a little bit in pocket. This has not come out in pocket. Hand retention's good, so that's good. And then the thumb studs, well, not only being stop pins, most of the thumb studs that are stop pins are kind of useless. Not so with these ones. I'm right-handed, kind of obviously, but I can also open this knife very easily with my left hand with those thumb studs. Is it a little easier, a little more intuitive with the flipper? Not hit the table. Yeah, a little bit, but it just flies out when you use those thumb studs. I really like having that option because most of my knives deploy with the thumb. So not having to, it's actually about half and half now, flippers and thumb studs, but I really like having thumb studs because, you know, if I pull this out of my pocket and I need to get to it fast, I'm not thinking, you know, do I use my flipper? I have that thumb stud option. So I don't come out and I'm trying to open it and realize I'm carrying a flipper today. So just a little bit of a sidebar. Flipper is, as I said, well designed, and it's helped open by SpeedSafe. Can you see it? No, you can see the Kershaw name. Kind of worn and torn. Awesome knife. There's a SpeedSafe, which means there's a torsion bar in here. It's a spring. It sits with no tension on it right now. And then as you begin to close the knife, still no tension, right about there. That's where the tension begins. And then you're going to put that spring under tension, and you're going to close it, and then that is held in place by the ball detent and on the liner lock. And once you overcome that, once you can push it out probably that far, see if I can, don't do this at home, kids. There you go. It's going to probably carry out most of the way. So the combination of your own mechanics and the spring make it a very fast knife, and it's legal because you have to interface with the blade somehow. So it's not an automatic knife. It's inside FRN handles that are actually kind of checkered like a medium traction G10. That's really cool. First time I saw this knife, I thought it actually had G10. When I first saw the knife out of box, I still thought it had G10. You know, I thought that the Kershaw website was lying to me, but it is FRN, and that sits over full stainless steel liners. There's no skeletonization in there. Not sure if you can see that, and I don't have a flashlight handy, but they are full stainless steel liners, which make this knife very strong, but very beefy. This is as close as make no difference, 4 ounces for a 3 1/4 inch blade. So if you're really weight sensitive, or you just like lighter weight knives, this isn't really the knife for you. But again, those full stainless steel liners make it very strong, and they're thick, and that liner lock is very thick, very strong. Did lots of stabbing with it. Again, no loss of lockup up and down. That lock is there to stay. That's an awesome, awesome lock. And the thumb studs are really good too. Did some really hard push cuts and then some slashes against wood, and again, lockup has not been affected. So awesome, awesome knife. 4-way positionable clip. Carries reasonably low in pocket, and because it is blackened on top of black, if you wear black pants, this is very low profile. It blends right in. There is no lanyard loop. And you're like, well, Paul, there's a lanyard. I actually put that through one of the standoffs, and it's actually getting kind of torn up because, you know, it's sitting right next to the blade, kind of like how if you had a Strider, you put it through one scale and then you came around. I think that would still hit the lanyard a lot and still cut it up. That's happening to this one. I just put it on to see if it would help me get it out of pocket. It does, because that is a very strong pocket clip that sits on top of some of the texturing on the FRN. The advantage of this mildly textured FRN is it's not going to tear your pocket up as much as, say, highly textured G10. So there's an advantage. All put together with Torx bits. So if you wanted to take it apart, take the torsion bar out, whatever you please, then you can do that. So those are the good sides. You know, awesome blade, pretty good blade steel, very good grind, very strong, really good grip. Oh, the handle. You look at this handle and you think, that's really angular. That will not fit well in your hand. I thought the same thing too until I held it and I'm like, damn, that's comfortable. All the edges are rounded. This is not as sharp as a transition as it looks. It is actually very rounded. It sinks right into that pocket of your palm when you're holding like that. It has adequate jimping on the blade. On the thumb ramp, it's kind of soft. You could probably take a Dremel to that and sharpen it up. But the jimping on the blade, so if you came up here, jimping on the blade is good, just not on the thumb ramp. But for most of us, do we ever really need jimping? No, we don't. Liner lock is good. Some downsides, again, that is a very tight pocket clip. There is no lanyard loop because of the tight pocket clip. I'd kind of like one to help pull it out. Oh, and this is more of a quality control issue than an issue against the knife. Like, if you want my honest opinion of this knife, I'd say 8 out of 10. It's a little heavy. I'd prefer G10 on it because I've had some knives that have had G10 and have had were still relatively inexpensive. Make this aluminum would be cool, except that would really raise the cost. That's Zytel backspacer, so make it a flow through. That wouldn't add any cost, I don't think. Can't really think of, maybe make those heat treated aluminum instead of stainless steel. But then you're going to lose the liner, so actually, yeah, keep them steel. I mean, it's a beefy knife. It's a strong knife. 8 out of 10. Really, truly a very good knife for what it's designed for. Good ergonomics. You could use it in a self-defense roll. Has a nice sharp tip. Smack them with that if you don't want to cut them up. And then you open it up. Pretty good traction. Has a guard on it because of the flipper. Decent traction on the handle and on the jimping. Do I hope you never use that? Yes, but it is possible that you might have to, and this would actually be a decent option. The one quality control niggle I have is, don't know if you can, yeah, you can kind of see it. That's actually rubbing the liner. The edge isn't, which is the only reason I haven't sent it back to Kershaw by now. But right as it transitions, that transition, it starts to rub on the liner. And so you can hear that. It should just go. And I can't even make it not go in. It's just, and not touch it. And I tried taking the torsion bar out thinking, okay, maybe it's the spring pushing down on the blade and twisting it. It's not that. Try to adjust it out on the pivot screw. Can't adjust it out. So I'm probably going to send it to Kershaw here pretty soon. I'll let you know how that goes. But if you're, so one quality control niggle on this specific knife is black coated, as you can see. It's starting to wear off after, honestly, a lot of use. My honest opinion, this is a great knife if you want a knife that is relatively inexpensive and you can use like a rented mule. Use it hard, put it away wet. Well, don't put it away wet. That's how you get rust, no matter what steel you use. But if you want to treat it like a rented mule and not feel bad about it, this is a great knife for you. So, the Kershaw Brawler, and it's the, see here, the 1990 plain edge, Kai patented. Very good knife. Hope you enjoyed.